All right. Well, we'll give everyone just a moment to populate here on the Facebook. No, yeah, we're starting right now. No, I just hit the go live button now, so I'm just gonna wait for a few seconds before we kind of dive in. But as we kind of wait, feel free to uh, put out some ticker requests, and we will be sure to go over them as soon as humanly possible. Of course, we'll start out with the uh, indices and kind of go from there. So if you're joining on social media, I appreciate you. I know it's Sunday night; it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, but yeah, we appreciate you taking time out of your night and day to come join us. Thanks to everybody in the Discord coming in. Good evening. Hope everyone's staying nice and cozy this evening. It is kind of chilly here on the East Coast, at least for Georgia. At least it's a little bit chillier than you would expect. So, yeah, pretty good weekend overall. The wife and I we went to the Chris Stapleton concert in Atlanta. So that was pretty good. Chris Stapleton, Miranda Lambert, Dwight Yoakam, and some new girl, Katie Pruitt. Uh, did a really good concert there. It was a lot of fun. My voice and eardrums are still kind of in the recovery mode, so that's always exciting. But all right, we'll get things started here. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. I know it's your time's important just as much as mine, so we'll just kind of keep things going. If you have any ticker requests, feel free to shout them out, and we'll get to them. Of course, if you are on one of our social medias, feel free to comment and hit that like and I almost said like and subscribe. Well, like it and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Nice little catch there. But all right, here we go. Starting off with a quick look here at the futures. We can see here on the middle of your screen here, the ES did a little bit of a gap down, but we're kind of holding on to VWAP here, just kind of holding steady, down about 0.3%. Same thing with the NASDAQ, slight gap down here on the futures, down about almost half a percentage point there. But the Asian markets, those are holding pretty steady, nice and green like as far as that goes. Now I know I need to hit my share screen button on the social media. So if you're probably wondering what the heck am I talking about, so there you go. So if you're on YouTube, there you go. I'll just redraw that. ES slight gap down, NQ slight gap down there as well, and just kind of holding steady for now. Asian markets are kind of green. So interesting situation that we've kind of gotten ourselves into. Yeah, it's been a heck of a run since the CPI data came out and the markets absolutely went into blast off mode. And it does raise an interesting point because for the Fed, uh, the deceleration in prices is a welcoming development and does provide some validation to slow the pace of rate hikes starting next month in December. We've had four consecutive 75 basis point rate hikes. So a slowdown to zero point 0.5 or 50 basis points in December does seem the most probable move. But we don't need to expect policymakers to abandon their higher for longer term narrative just yet. Officials want to see several consecutive months of lower readings before considering a pause or a shift. So, the upcoming jobs reports and the inflation data releases that we get over the next few months are going to set the tone, and that could, give us that shift in interest rate expectations there. But sometime in the first half of next year, once the policy rate hits that 4.755% mark, yeah, that will be good. But while a pause is likely in sight, going into December, most likely a 50% basis point rate hike for December. Any hopes for a pivot to even cut rates are just really unlikely, and shouldn't be considered at this time. So, but with that being said, if we take a look at the overall picture of things for now, just in our short time frame mark. So we'll just zoom on in here. Bulls have done quite a fantastic job overall. Uh, so much it's almost convincing that a bottom is possibly in since the all-time high. Momentum has overall improved in a lot of ways in a lot of sectors, and even on the German DAX and even the euro, which, if the euro is changing and shifting in momentum, that is definitely bullish for the overall market. So, in review, the bulls have a lot of things in their favor. We got momentum on key indexes, on key sectors and symbols. We have positive momentum divergences. We have a falling dollar. We have the bonds which are attempting to bottom out. We're starting to see some rotation underneath the surface. We are seeing a lowered VIX, and of course, if you want to throw it in there, we have the end of year seasonality and what everybody calls the Santa Claus rally. We'll see once we get there, of course, the closer we get to Christmas time and closer to uh, December there. So, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. So, honestly, this is the most aligned that the Bulls have had in quite some time. The setup is pretty much here for a melt up situation, but we also want to continue to monitor and know our levels and check on our structures and our momentums as the days pass. But for now, the Bulls most definitely have a lot in their favor. So looking here on the charts, we can see here this is a daily chart on SPY, and what I want to bring to your attention first is we're going to switch this over to a weekly chart here, and you can kind of see what I want to point out is, you know, when we look at these momentum divergences, what we want to see here. So I got a momentum indicator down here at the bottom. It's a simple momentum. You can use whatever indicator that you like. That does suggest momentum. A lot of people use MACD and all that kind of good stuff. So pull up a momentum indicator of your choosing or that you're familiar with, and take a look at this. Weekly chart, even your daily charts. Here you have price making. Here's a low. Here's a lower low. But when you come over down here to your momentum, you'll kind of notice that, here's a low, here's a higher low. That's a divergence. That's a positive divergence. That's what we want to take note of. So that's something that will go in our favor. And this is pretty much across the board for the most part. It's on the diamonds, it's on the IWM. You're getting SPY hasn't quite gotten there, but we're still below the zero line, but I think that should probably progress to the upside. Of course, we know that the diamonds is probably the best looking structure out there. You can see that we've just crossed the zero line there on the diamond weeklies, and if we switch it over to the IWM, you can get that divergence there as well, and you're just about to cross that zero line from there. So yeah, pay attention to those positive momentum divergences. Check them out on some of your favorite charts. See if there is anything interesting going on as far as that goes. Of course, price always comes first, then your indicators. Use your key levels there before anything else, before you even look at your indicators. So if we look at the daily 200 simple moving average, which is on my charts, this is your red line. That's your daily 200. Over here on your right hand side, this is an hourly chart. That is my hourly 200. So here you got your day chart. Here you got your hourly chart. Hooray! I'm really good at writing on this pad here. So daily 200 as a collective, it's a natural point of resistance. A lot of market participants are going to be very well aware of these points in the charts, and that goes for bulls, that goes for bears. So expect that to be some sort of natural resistance. Of course, here on the SPY, you can kind of tell where that's at. That's around here, about that 410, 407 zone. So 407 on the SPY, 410 uh, would be the pivot high here from the swing. So those are going to be my key levels there on the SPY. Please mark those as we go, or make note of them if you don't have your levels already. China's FXI, I think this is a really cool one. China's FXI is definitely trying to uh, give us a nice little bottom here. As long as the China FXI, this is like your large cap China ETF, as long as the this continues to hold 23, yeah, China's looking pretty decent here. And of course, like I said, in Asian markets right now, the Shanghai is up almost 1%, and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong is up about 3.1%. We'll see how that translates over into the European markets. As we kind of go along here, if we take a look at some of our sectors, let's take a look at let's do XLK here because tech is a very important one uh, to keep an eye on, especially with things going on, especially if we get that shift in that sector rotation that we talked about. Getting a pause here definitely makes sense. It would be normal, and the main issue here that we need to kind of, keep our mindset on is how well does the overall market handle a pullback. So sure, we are extended in terms of here's price way up here on the hourly, and here's our main moving averages. So this is what you see, this big gap here. That's what we call, we're kind of extended from that. So there's a lot of air in between those two factors. So looking at this, you can consider this a possible double top situation here. Of course, it's not confirmed until we do get a breakdown below here. So that's kind of what I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking at these possible double top situations, but also on how well we continue to manage the pullback. But for the most part, we do believe that these pullbacks will most certainly hold. That's just the way the nature of the structures are, the nature of the momentum, the divergences, pretty much everything that we pointed out earlier, all those things coming together suggest that pullbacks should most likely hold. And if you want to, as long as that remains true, then we can buy the dip. But be mindful, always have a plan, always have a stop. Don't get married to a position. So we always want to have our goals, our stops, and have our rules, our rules, rule based trading plans. So I would be somewhat careful in over positioning just because of how extended that we are in some of these sectors, and we are starting to see that rotation between our big losers such as tech from our big winners such as consumers and the XLV. This would be because the market is already long on those names and short on tech and high beta names. So the high tech, the high beta names, that's really what I'm kind of looking for this week. Those can definitely run the most, and I'm definitely really interested in semiconductor names, uh, notably so AMD, Nvidia on QCOM. Just keep an eye on semiconductors in general. Those can definitely get a nice move to the upside. My thoughts still pretty much stay the same. A lot of action does still remain in zero DTE, 0 days till expiration, SPX, and weekly stock options. Not so much the monthly expirations and further dated options change. So that just indicates there's still some lack of conviction within short term to midterm trading. Markets are still illiquid, and that most certainly does cut both ways to the bull side and to the bear side. So as we kind of get into the nitty gritty, the main focus of our game plan is pretty simple here. First one we've already kind of touched base about. The markets are a little bit extended here, but there's still a lot of room to maneuver, especially on the daily and the weekly charts. So I do expect that these pullbacks will kind of hold intraday trend structures between. I'm really watching these hourly 21 EMA, which is my dotted green line here, and the hourly 50. So as long as these two things hold together and we continue to hold trend, then I think we are positioned to move on up. So I am watching out for the sector rotation. Overall, bulls are in control. The bears have absolutely gotten whacked in the face as of last week, needless to say. And then, as far as our sectors go, kind of the same thing as last week. Definitely focusing in on the XLB. I really like energy stocks still. I like the financials, materials, especially copper. Looks fantastic. You got the HG futures here. A little bit of a pullback here during this overnight session, but copper seems to head to be leading the way, and that is a leading economic indicator that you can use. As long as copper does push above 410, then hold on to your hats. Especially your 60/40. If you do hold and maintain a 60/40 portfolio, then there you go. That'll be a nice boost to your long term. Of course, have your trading account, have your long term account. They should be separate. They shouldn't be in the same account. I am liking ZOM. As far as energy goes, ExxonMobil is right here at all-time highs. Needs to crack 114.66 and get a nice little push to at least 117.50 and then 120 altogether. I like FCX, Freeport McMoran. It's the copper name out there. STLD is also a great materials name. A little bit pullback there on Friday, but nothing too great to worry about. Also, definitely keeping a good eye on Apple. Remember last week we talked about Apple needing to hold 140. We eventually got there. It was a little bit of a struggle. We played puts pretty much Monday through Wednesday, and then when Wednesday came along, boom, off we went. We switched our trading plan and we went straight to the upside and captured a lot of moves to the upside. Uh, the last part of the week, Thursday, Friday, even on captured a little bit of the move after Powell's. Well, yeah, after it was Thursday. Yeah, that we went and blasted off from there. So that was a pretty good move. I'm also watching EV names such as Tesla, Rivian should be an interesting one, and I believe Neo had a pretty interesting day on Friday. We'll keep an eye on that one. But I definitely like Tesla. See what goes on from that. Tesla, of course, has been a lot of fun to trade lately. If guys in the Discord, you know that we've absolutely been killing it on Tesla. We know Tesla likes to trade in those blocks of 5 digits, so 115, 120, those kind of things. Shop, we had a great trade on Shop altogether. I think there was a lot of people involved in Shop and within the Discord. Congrats on those wins. As far as our short names, watching Hood, it looks like a dumpster fire, especially with all the crypto shenanigans going around. Let's see, I need to clear all these drawings. Yeah, we'll just clear that. You got a nice little bump here on Friday where it did push towards the daily 21 EMA. I'm looking for some more downward pressure. And of course, we all know that Bitcoin overall is in a lot of trouble, that FTX situation, and even more. So we're continuing to see just nonstop negative news on crypto. It's just getting beat up to a pulp. But the way I feel about it, it's not done yet. I think the FTX collapse, uh, it's one of the major dominoes to fall, but it's not the last one in my opinion. I'm still waiting for Tether to completely collapse, and from there, yeah, then we can play games a little bit there. So once the Tether situation kind of blows up, then we'll enter a nasty period. And I'm looking for about 12K or lower on Bitcoin. But I'm not saying that you can't trade it short term or anything like that. Of course, you can play the pops or you can short it, but I personally wouldn't hold it for long periods of time. Definitely not longer than a week or so. Whatever your time frame is, but definitely would not suggest trading this for a long time. I would let this thing burn up even more. But all right, yeah, that's my Bitcoin spiel. So we can continue to watch Coin. I think names like Hershey's and GIS. These guys are pretty much. This is where we're seeing that rotation out of these names because people are already long these names. They're going to be switching over to high beta tech names. So that's what we're going to be paying attention to. Of course, I like AMD. I like NVIDIA. You could even watch Intel Core. On has also been a fantastic name. It's right here at the highs near 76, 78. Big push. It's been actually leading the way a little bit in comparison to AMD and NVIDIA. So yeah, we want to keep keeping a little bit eye on that. And then of course you got Square, UNH looks pretty pretty wild here. NEE, this is Nextra Energy, and then you got Nucor is a little bit different there. Let's take a look at natural gas. Just a quick peek here. Nat gas is still pretty sloppy, isn't it? We don't have a very good clean structure here on the hourly. See that we're still kind of, still got a little bit of negative connotations here on natural gas. It's pretty much sloppy and it's under, uh, it's under all the major levels, it seems, especially under 6.5. So we definitely want to be mindful of that. So I'm not too interested in natural gas. If we take a look at, let's see, we can take a look at crude oil here since energy is looking pretty interesting. Yeah, it's a little bit sloppy here. On the hourly, you can see that the structures are kind of all over the place here with the moving averages. Usually, when you see these moving averages crisscross like all over the place, you're welcome for that move. You'll see that is pretty much indecision, but it is starting to try to trend a little bit here. Try to get some trend qualities. Obviously, we need to crack this 94 level here, break above that double top, and go from there. But as long as price does, let me zoom in a little bit here. As long as price does hold above this daily 21 EMA, this green line, then I think you're doing okay. And my upside target is most definitely going to be that 96, 100, and then of course 105 is going to be my overall upside target. So we definitely got some ways to go as far as crude oil if she so desires, which gives us a good reason to pay attention to our energy names. So if we kind of backtrack here, I'm going to go back to the SPY. We already talked about the negative divergences where we had that lower low on price, but not so much a lower low there on momentum. So paying attention to that, let that continue to shape up. We do have, let's see, I think the main target here, of course, like we talked about, is going to be that 407 level, which is the daily 200, and then 410. And as you can see here on this daily chart on your left hand side, we have this nice little trend line here. So, what that is a trend line based from pretty much the start of the year. Like up here, that is January 4th, where we had our all time high on the SPY. And that trend line just goes really nicely all the way down to this 407, 410 level. So that is a very, very interesting grouping right there. So we definitely want to pay attention to those levels on the upside. If we take a look at the US dollar, of course, the dollar has absolutely been getting slammed to a pulp. What I would like to see here is if the dollar continues to push down. Let me remove this. Let me remove that line. What I want to bring your attention to is this level, the one that I left on screen here, is this 104 level. This 104 level was a key breakout zone before we had this incredible move higher here on the dollar, and of course, everything went to poo after that. Uh, so I would like to see a pushback and go all the way down to 104. That also gives us, not only a retest of that key spot, but also gives us a nice retest of the daily 200. So we'll also keep an eye on that confluence as well. Yeah, a pretty big, massive, a massive breakdown. We've also see the first weekly momentum break. Let me show you what that looks like. Go here. Yeah, so this weekly momentum break down here, you see that it's broken below the zero line down here. this is the first time that it has done that. I mean, we came close here. That's right at 0, but this is the first clear cut breakdown of momentum on the dollar since 2021. So it's been, momentum has carried this thing for so long, and we're finally starting to see cracks show up within the surface. So the dollar, yeah, I would love to see it come on down to that 104 level. Next, we'll of course take a look at our treasury yields, starting with the TNX. The TNX, this is your 10-year rate. Last week's structure, it was pretty decent, and then it just kind of collapsed here, which is good. Would like to see it crack. Like my voice there. Would like to see it crack below this daily 50 here at 38. So below 41, right about here is this 41 level. I would like it to maintain below. I think that would be a key spot there on the 10-year rate. And then, of course, you have the TYX, which is the 30-year rate. Holding the lows for now, right here, you can see that it's holding pretty decent here. It does have momentum cracks as well. I think as long as the TYX stays below 41, also would be a pretty good spot there. So, all in all, pretty good looking for the bulls. We already talked about copper there earlier. Looking at the HYG, needs to hold above 73. We have that bullish divergence here as well. We have a lower low, lower low, a low with a higher low. So there it is again. Positive divergence yet again. It's all across the board. Check them out. Definitely needs to hold 73. Yeah, bullish divergence on the weekly. And we also have a nice multi-day squeeze here. We got a 2-day squeeze and a 3-day that's starting to go in favor. So if we can get above this 75, this is the weekly 21 as well. If you zoom in there. So this dotted line here, this is your weekly 21. If we can clear this area above 75, room to 77 and retest that daily 200 there as well. So you can kind of see the daily 200 it's everywhere. It's on the main indices, it's on the charts, on the indexes, it's on your your individual names. So kind of figure out where things are in regards to that nature. Of course, there's still plenty of names out there making all-time highs. As far as everything else goes, yeah, the VIX here is definitely busted. It's been funny watching all these Twitter furus get so butthurt about the VIX saying, "Oh, it's oversold. The RSI is in negative territory," and yet it still comes down. Yeah, that's just the way it works. The bulls are in control, and it makes me wonder how many of those furus kind of missed the move there last week. So, yeah. So oversold. Things can continue to be oversold. Now, what I will point out about the VIX is that we are coming down to this 20 area. 20 does seem to be a sticky situation. So if we do happen to come all the way down to 20, we do want to be mindful of that on any case that there is a bounce, because the VIX does tend, as of lately, does like to kind of bounce off those important key levels, especially like right on that 20 mark. So we want to pay attention to the 20, no doubt about that. And, if it does bounce off of 20, I'm sure some of those Twitter fooler guys are going to go, "Oh, well, I told you so." And I'm like, yeah, where were you last week, buddy? So definitely want to pay attention to that. I'm throwing shade out there on a, let's see, internals. Sure, we are a little bit extended. Um, you know, do we how do we hold the pullback? That is definitely the main question, but that should always be on your mind regardless. Most signals do imply that the pullbacks will hold, but we should also be mindful and pay attention to any issues or situations that suggest otherwise. So, like I said, the narrative right now is that the bulls are in control. They're in the most control that they've ever been all year, in my opinion. And we just want to be mindful of where things can not only go to the upside, but where they can possibly go to the downside, especially if these structures do start to show some cracks. So if we do get a pullback, I'm looking for this hourly 21 and the hourly 50 to hold. If these do crack and we get back in this zone here like we did last week here, this is neutral land. If we go back into neutral land, I'm just going to continue to stick to day trades, because day trades are not only been fruitful, but they provide the most opportunity right now. But of course, we've had some good swings over the past few days, so that's been nice. Let's see. As far as my scans go, my personal scans go, of course, I have a lot of the semiconductor names on there, such as AMD on and all that kind of stuff, like I talked about. Definitely like Apple. We'll see where Apple wants to shape up. Let's see. AbbVie looks pretty interesting to me as well. You got a nice little hammer candle here on the daily that I want to pay attention to. We did get a nice little move here on Monday that we played, and that was a nice play indeed. Or was that Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday we played AbbVie, and we did get a nice little push there to 152. Didn't quite fill the gap. You can see here that there's a little bit gap left that we can fill up to about that 154 mark. So I definitely want to pay attention to AbbVie if it does push on up to the upside. Of course, I want to be mindful of tech, high beta tech names, Microsoft. Of course, we can pay attention to Amazon, Tesla, uh, anything that was beat up. Roku had a pretty interesting week last week. Nice push above the daily 50. You got tons of room up here to about 71. And of course, we did have a great day with Shopify, actually a great week, 2 days or so on Shopify. The first day, we had nice gains here, and then we even had some runners that we took shed it off even more right around that $40 mark. So that was a fantastic trade altogether. Shout out to Knowledge for holding that one and trading that really well. But all right, let's see. As far as the economic calendar goes, we got Brainerd. Tuesday, we got PPI, and we also have G20. We have retail sales on Wednesday. We have the Bank of Europe, Bank of England, Bailey speaking on Wednesday. Not much of an impact for us, but something to kind of pay attention to in case he does say something weird. We also have Bullard. That's always a fun one on Thursday. Let's see. We have unemployment numbers again on Thursday, and then Friday we have existing home sales, and then we have the Euro central bank head honcho Lagarde speaking on Friday. So there's definitely it's kind of a little bit of a busy week. Next week we also get FOMC minutes, so that'll be something to pay attention to as well. As far as earnings go, we got some interesting ones. We got Home Depot on Tuesday, Home Depot, Walmart, so a few of the retail names. We also have Nvidia on Wednesday. Maybe we'll get a little bit of peek into their 4090 sales. We also have Cisco on Wednesday after the market. Let's see. Thursday, we have BJ's. BJ's actually had a pretty good chart. Did try to break into new all-time highs, and you had some profit taking. Some of that rotation underneath the surface there. And then you got Ross and Stone. Those might be kind of interesting there. But I think if I were to pick one, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to Nvidia. You also have Advanced Auto Parts if you like that one. Let's see here, just kind of double checking real quick. Other than that, looks pretty good. I am open for ticker requests. If you have any to shout out, feel free to let me know if you have any ticker requests. You can say those in the comments, or wherever you want to post them if you're on social media. Then we'll kind of get into it. Let's see. We can take a look at GM, General Motors. Nice push here on General Motors. I think I tried to swing some forward last week, but got stopped out before the run up. That just was the nature of the beast. I took calls right around here. It was probably right around here, and we were looking for that push up above that 1372.75 mark. And this is where I got stopped out. So we got stopped out right in this neutral territory, which we got to be mindful of our stops and our trading plan, and that's just what happened. And then of course we got the CPI data, and off we kind of ran from there. So I did get stopped out on Ford, but it's still looking pretty decent here. It's hitting the daily 200, and then of course if we compare it to General Motors, of course, good momentum, good structure. You're trading above all the main moving averages. You're even above this daily 200, which is nice. And even the hourly structure looks fantastic. You had a nice push above the 200. You got a small retest, and then off you kind of went from there. Flirted a little bit in La La Land, of course, with everything else, and then you're continuing to push on higher. So, if we want to take a look at GM, sure, watch out for that 42, 42.50 level. Let's see, let's see, Chewy, sure. Chewy, we can take a look at Chewy. Chewy, of course, big push here on Thursday and Friday with everything else. Decent structure. You got some multi-day squeezes here. You got the 2 day, you got the 3 day. Not much on as far as the green lights go, but if you can push above 42 here as well, I do imagine that we can get to this 45. 45 is a big dark pull zone in the past, so we definitely want to be mindful of that as well. We take a look at Coke. Yeah, Coke has been a pretty interesting one, especially within in the Discord group. Coke, right here at the daily 200. Yeah, you could argue that this is a slight little cup and handle, perhaps, but of course we need to break out and push above this daily 200. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people paying attention to that. Break above 61.30. You're definitely looking for a push towards the 63 zone. Break above 63, you are looking pretty decent there. So look out for Coke. Just take a peek at Pepsi as well. Pepsi's, I probably won't pay attention to Pepsi too much. Yeah, LMT, that was a favorite last week, but you got that breakdown. You definitely had a push lower here on LMT, which invalidated the bullish structure here, trying to get a push above that 495 into 500. We didn't get that. In fact, we got the opposite. We had this breakdown below 480, and you even got a daily close below the daily 21. So, that does kind of set things up a little interestingly. So, sure, here on the hourly, you're a little bit in La La Land in neutral spot, but as you can see, the hourly 200 is way down here at 447, 448. Now, if you lose this structure down here, look out below. Maybe we get a new squeeze forming here on the daily. Of course, that needs to set up, but if the momentum does break down here, and down we go, and we could very well retest the weekly 21. So yeah, last week we definitely got invalidated on that, so that's not something I'm going to be looking for to the long side. Definitely want to pay attention to Home Depot. Home Depot looks pretty decent here as well. We also have existing home sales coming up on what I say Friday. Room to about 330 to go first, and then of course 333, 340 will be a key spot there. APO, yeah, we'll take a look at APO. APO, Apollo Global Management. Yeah, fantastic push here. Let's see, you're out of the way of earnings. You don't have any squeezes. Looks like those have fired up. Momentum is huge. I mean, this thing is just on a tear right now. Good hourly structure. Look, you even had a pullback to the hourly 50. And what happened there? You got a nice little bump up. Of course, that was a gap up. You do have dividends getting paid soon, so be mindful of that. Usually, when those dividends get paid out, you do get a move lower. So that's about a 40-cent dividend that's going to be paid on the 16th. So expect that to get a little bit of a push down on that day. But yeah, overall, as long as the pullback holds, you can remain bullish. Am I going to be chasing up here? I mean, probably not. You're already up 2-3 ATR. So I would like to see a I would like to see a pullback, at least even if that does come with a dividend. If the pullback happens, great. You're still in a very good structure here on the hourly. And even if you do get a pullback into neutral zone, wait for it to revert itself back to the upside. But like I said, we're all kind of expecting any kind of pullback to hold. As far as your upside targets, you're looking, uh, you don't have much in the way up until about 71, 72. So it looks pretty strong. I would just wait for a dip buy if you're looking for an entry, or if you're already in, make sure. I would say watch out for a hourly close below the hourly 200. That would probably stop me out. That's right at that 54.50 level. That would also put you below the daily 21. So I definitely wouldn't be involved if I got pushed back that far. So you got plenty of levels to work with on APO. Looks pretty good. Let's see here. Seemed like there was some movement in the cruise lines last week. Sure, let's take a look. NCLH, we played this one. This was a lot of fun. What day was that? That was the 8th. Tuesday. Yeah, we played this on Tuesday and we had a great run up. Tuesday was kind of a slow start for the market. And out of all the names out there for us to capture, we ended up going with NCLH to start the morning off during the live session. And this thing just blasted off and it was actually a lot of fun to trade, surprisingly. But yeah, you had this nice move to the upside on NCLH. It was fun to capture above 17. We'll give it to about 1840. 1840, you are looking for pretty much a move back to 20. 20 is going to be a psychological level, but as far as things hold, you have good hourly structure here. You have pretty decent daily structure. You have a small squeeze intraday. Let's take a look at that weekly structure, though, here. Let's go over here to the weekly charts. Look here. You have a weekly squeeze. Green light. Weekly squeeze. Momentum is above 0. It looks good. Hourly looks good. Yeah, look for that push towards 2120. If we can get it, needs to clear that high on Friday and off we can go. Looks really good there on NCLH. Let's take a look at, let's see, you got RCL. RCL, not too bad, not as clean as NCLH, right? Let's take a look at the daily time frame here. RCL got a 3-day squeeze that's trying to do some stuff, but it's not too bad either. Good hourly here. You even had a retest of the hourly 200 and blasted off from there. Let's see here. What is the RCL, NCLH? Those are the main ones I trade at least. Yeah, those look pretty good. Oh, CCL, of course, Carnival Cruise Lines. Momentum holding up. You need to clear. Oops. Let's see. Let's remove that drawing. All right, let's grab this tool just so you can see it. About 1140. You can argue 1150 just to round up. But we'll say 1140. Need to clear that for a push up to that daily 200 at 1320. Or you can use your price level at 1420. So you might overshoot the daily 200 there and tap into that 1420, maybe even 1450, or excuse me, 15 up there. So you got some pretty interesting levels on CCL. I definitely like NCLH probably the most out of all of those, if I'm going to be honest with you, just because you're already above the daily 200. Structure looks good. You got earnings out of the way, of course. I think all of them are out of the way with earnings. Yeah, those look good, rather. I don't know if you have one in particular, but yeah, I like NCLH there. Let's see. Steve Areno asking about Perry. Yep, Perry Pals, definitely the favorite from Mr. Consistency. I know Mr. Consistency has his pretty impressive due diligence on this one. I believe he's very involved in this one as well. Perry looks clean. Structure looks great. You got earnings out of the way. He can probably give you more details, better details on that than I can. I'm a technical guy, not so much a fundamentalist. But yeah, as far as things go, great move to the upside. Thursday and Friday, you had a let's see, you had a nice little daily squeeze here that's starting to fire off. I would be mindful of this zone here at 20. Yeah, you're kind of right at it. 26 through 27. That's a pretty hefty zone here that you're going to have to push through. So what you want to do here is try to base out, maybe even if you do get a pullback on the hourly, let that hourly structure hold and then get that next leg higher. Of course, for me, if we got a pullback down here to 23 and we had a close down here around 22, that is an hourly close below the main moving averages. For me, that would stop me out uh, just based on those principles. You could use, excuse me, that was a terrible line there. You could use this key spot here. What was that, about 21? If you wanted to have a little bit more wiggle room there. So, that's about a 4-point stop. You got a 4-point stop to make. Let's see. Yeah, you're going to want to retap 30. 4-point stop. It could go either way. You got to clear this 27 first. So I would much rather, if I'm not in, I would wait for a pullback if I can get one. To me, it's kind of extended for the time being. But other than that, pretty decent. You have good structure, good daily structure, good hourly structure, uh, good momentum here. You got a nice little channel here that you're kind of working with and trying to break above. It's not the most cleanest line. There you go. Trying to break above that, and then of course trying to break above this zone here. So a lot of technical things that you can work with as far as that goes. Perry, it's a good name. Uh, Good fundamentals as far as I am aware of. Just kind of be mindful. I would just wait on a dip to buy personally. Let's see. Adobe. Yeah, let's take a look at Adobe. High beta tech right here at the weekly 21. You are in gap fill land. Gap is about 360, so you got a lot of wiggle room here. Well, not a lot, but a little bit. Not too bad. You did get a daily close right there at 341.15. Yeah, looking for a good push to 360. Now you are extended, like everything else, of course, that we've pointed out. You got a lot of air between you and the moving average supports, but of course that can continue to rise. 300, of course, needs to hold for me. If I were to stay in this, or 300, definitely a big spot there for me to get in. So 360 would be my gap fill play. Excuse me, probably about 370, wouldn't it? Let's put a line there. Yeah, right about 370. That'd be T2. And then 395, 400 T3. That would be your daily 200 there. So it looks pretty clean, looks nice. Just maybe wait on a pullback if you're not in it. If you are in it, just ride the wave. Have a stop in place. Let's see. I know we can probably take a look at Netflix. Netflix did a good job at holding, retesting that earnings gap up and pushing higher to 290. Looking for a move back up to 300. Let's take a look at the mouse here. The mouse has been beat to a pulp as of lately. A little bit of a gap left to fill up to 99. By all means, not the best name out there, so I probably won't be too focused on Disney in itself. Let's see. Yeah, we can take a look at Target. Nice push here. You're going to have a lot of resistance here at that 180. Not only do you have gap resistance, you also have the daily 200. So be mindful of that on Target. Other than that, not too crazy. That could be a back burner name just to have in our pocket in case some of these retail names. Walmart has their earnings Tuesday morning, and they've been kind of weird with their earnings. Well, last earnings they were kind of wonky. They they gave a big warning, and then they're like, "Oh, everything's good. What are you talking about?" Yeah. Let's see. Of course, you got Costco if you want to throw in cost. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Oh, you got TJX is in there as well. Let's take in look at UNP. Yeah, we tried to take. Well, we did take this to the short side and then got stopped out on the remainder. Big push up there on UNP. Let's take a look at CSX. CSX right there at the daily 200. Let's see UPS. Sure, UPS looks pretty decent here. Nice little bottoming pattern here. You probably argue. Uh, Needs to clear 181, 181.40. You got a gap fill up to 185 after that. Not too shabby. And then, of course, we can compare that with its competitor FedEx. FedEx has a huge gap to fill. Of course, it doesn't have to fill, but kind of be mindful out there too about that 200 level. Nice daily squeeze starting to fire up. 2-day squeeze is firing as well. I would like for this to come in, retest, and then progress ahead and just kind of launch itself and continue to make its strides there. So, all right, let's see. I think that concludes the ticker request. If you do have any ticker requests, feel free to shout them. Just to recap, Bulls mostly in control for now. We'll see how we manage the pullbacks and go from there. But like I said, this is uh, the most things that the Bulls have had in control in a very long time. So I do imagine that pullbacks do hold up. Let's see, wrong way there. Let me see here. Just to take another quick look on futures. Futures still holding pretty steady here. Still kind of flat to the lower. NQ down about 0.5% still. Not much improvement there, even though Asia markets are doing pretty decent. We still just need to see what happens once our markets open up. Let's see. Pack Steady, you missed Perry. That's okay. If you missed it, go to the recording on YouTube and go more towards the end. Push towards the end, and you'll get the entire recap there. But let's see. Yeah, overall, pretty good stuff. Let's see. Not too shabby there. So let's let things open up for the week. We had a great week last week. So yeah, let's not get too hasty, but be patient, let things work and progress from there. I think the Bulls have done a good job. We'll just see what comes next, of course. PPI data on Tuesday along with the G20. But all right, that will conclude our Sunday night prep session. I appreciate y'all coming out and hanging out with me. Of course, I'll be live Monday morning in the Discord. For those on social media, be sure to check us out at stockdads.com. Try us out for a week. And then see if you want to sign up for one of the larger programs like we've had a lot of members do as of lately. They've taken it full advantage of that weekly membership that we've started to offer just to get a little bit of a taste what we do. So anyway, I appreciate y'all taking y'all's time out of your Sunday evening to come hang out and get some knowledge and ask questions. But other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, and we will keep up the good work, and y'all have a good night. All right, guys, take care. See you later.